Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is that you're listening to this. My good name is Wanzuu. I'm your host for the Walking with Wanzuu podcast. How are you? How are you doing? You've been good? You've been great? How's life treating you? It's treating you good? Tough times? Don't you worry. I am sending you love and hugs nonetheless. So happy to be here. Episode 2 of season 6 of the Walking with Wanzuu podcast. If you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. This is a space that I specifically created to be able to talk about all things life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the not so pleasant ones, all from my own perspective. Think of it as a little love letter from me to you, talking about all my experiences, the very cringe ones and all the in-betweens. I'm happy to be back. Guess what? It's February. And what do we do in February? We talk about love. Because what was it last weekend? It was Valentine's, honey. Now, what is a better treat when the year is just beginning than a Valentine's that falls on a Friday? When I tell you the baby girls and the baby boys went all out and they showed up and they showed out. Hey, believe me, you best believe me. I was working late on Friday evening and I was just there in the supermarket minding my own business. My girlfriend showed up at work, my very good friend, and she was like, you know what, Wanzuu, we all know your ass is single, so let's give you a little treat. And she went and got me some yogurt and some ice cream. And if you know me, you know I love my dairy, especially my ice cream. I feel like prayer can solve a lot of problems, but so can ice cream. If you're heartbroken, have some ice cream. If you're stressed, have some ice cream. If you're having a bad day, have some ice cream. Even when you're feeling cold, have some ice cream. Personally, I feel like ice cream and potatoes can solve anything. And so I was more than happy to receive that as a gift. And then, of course, I made my way home and had a lovely evening of all of our indulging. But it was good to see people walking around with bouquets. I'm seeing people walking around with bottles of wine and what is it called, and gift wrapping papers and packages. It was beautiful to see. I'm a lover of love. I'm such a lover girl. I love to see love. I love to receive love. I love to give it. But even just watching other people get it and get it in its entirety and its fullness and its wonderfulness is always so beautiful for me to see. And so I thought February can definitely not go by. This month cannot go by without us talking about love a little bit. Now we've been talking about love on this podcast. I know there was a year where I was here bearing my heart when my heart was just here broken in pieces. There are times when I came in and shared some of my insights and some of the lessons that I've learned when it comes to love and romantic relationships. And you know what? I don't know about you, but my game is always wild, and my growth game is even more wild. And I feel like over the years, even as I have experienced love, some experiences have been quite gut-wrenching, others have been incredible, and others just didn't work out, and that's okay too, because that's just all part of life. And I thought, with all the little or a lot of experience that I have gathered, I'd come here and share some of the experiences that I've had. Now, there's something that I love to do on socials. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please do. Walking with Wanzuu podcast on Instagram. And even before I proceed, guys, did you know that we're on YouTube? I was thinking of making a comeback to YouTube. It's always been a very bittersweet space for me, because I've never really known whether I want to go the audiovisual route. And so I've kind of figured out a way to put out the conversations that we have here and spread the love that we've been getting on Spotify and other apps on YouTube as well. So the Walking with Wanzuu podcast, I'm happy to announce that is now available on YouTube. The feedback that I've gotten about YouTube is that YouTube is quite user-friendly. So if you don't have Spotify or any other streaming platforms on your phone or whatever other gadgets that you use to listen to the podcast, then now is a good time to tune into YouTube. And please subscribe. It helps me know just who I'm reaching, helps me kind of gauge what it is that you'd like to talk about. Feel free to share, subscribe, and also just comment and let me know what you think about the pod so far. So without further ado, let's get into it. There's a series that I always like to start when we go into February, which is the month of love, and the series is called Love Is. Now last year I put out a prompt on my Instagram, and I just wanted people to kind of define for me the various understanding they have about love. And I put out a tag and I said, love is, you can complete it with whatever it is that you are, what it is, whatever word it is that comes to mind when you think about defining love. And so this year I thought I'd do it differently. I thought I'd gather from all the lessons that I've had, because I've been around. Your girl has been busy. I know I've been out of the scene for a minute, but I've been dipping and dabbing here and there, coming in and out of the dating scene. Some of the experiences have been glorious, and others have just been well. That's all I'm gonna say, to say the least, because dating in Nairobi is an extreme sport, and if you're dating in 2025, let me tell you, gather yourself, because you're in for a wild ride. Now, if you're one of the lucky ones, you might dip your toes twice or thrice and come out with your Prince Charming or with your lovely queen. And if you're like the rest of us, you'll just be you'll be sampling for a while, honey. You'll be sampling for a while, but rest assured, the same way you're here eagerly waiting for love to find you and you settle is the same way your soulmate is just somewhere thinking, when will she find me, when? So I gathered a couple of lessons. There are about 8 of them based on my experiences, and I'd like to share them with you. And the first one goes, love is a choice. Now, I've learned over time that the first basis of love is usually choosing to be with someone. So it's very important that you have this on lock with your significant other. Love is a choice. You choose to be with them, they choose to be with you, and then everything else that you build on after that can follow, because it's very important for two people who have decided to be in a relationship to be on the same page. A lot can happen, and life will constantly throw things at you. There'll be good times, there'll be bad times, there'll be hard times, there'll be sad times, but as long as both of you are very clear about this one thing, that you've chosen to be with each other, you can kind of pretty much figure out the rest. The second thing is, love is a verb. Now it's 2025, and we all really love to be throwing this love word around. I mean, you'll be knowing someone for 5 minutes, and before you know it, it's I love you, I love you, I love you too. I love you so much. I really love this and I really love that. But it's not so much what you say, it's what you do. And I've learned this with my relationships, because someone can profess their undying, unending love for you, but their actions might be proving otherwise. They might not be. Like, I personally know that words of affirmation and quality time is a huge way of expressing love for me. And I know that life is busy. Like, I personally have so much that I'm juggling currently, and being a parent doesn't make it any less hectic. And so when I take time out of my busy life to choose to spend, or to kind of spend my time, or kind of intentionally be with someone, I expect the same intentionality with an equal amount of intensity, if not more. And so when I see a sense of nonchalance, or a sense of lack of reciprocity, then it's like, do you really mean what it is that you're saying? So it's in the effort that you put. Love is a verb. It's in the little thoughtful gestures that you kind of do. It's the reassurance, it's the constant, the intentional communication, it's the intentionality of carving out time to spend with your significant other. It's the considering them when you make a few decisions here and there, and just bearing in mind that in as much as you're doing life and you're the main character of your life, you've kind of chosen to share a small bit of it with someone, whether you're just dating or you're now like in a full-blown marriage. It's very important to kind of factor in your significant other in the things that you do. So love is a verb. It's not so much what you say, it's what you do. And more often times than not, your actions will tell on you. So if you're here and you've been wondering, hey, please, what is it that is going on? John, come, pull a chair. Let me tell you. Let me give you a secret. Sometimes it's not so much what you say, it's what you do. And your actions tend to be very loud, and they can actually tell on you. They really can. So you really want to back up what it is that you're saying with actions. The third one is love is forgiveness. Now, this is something we don't talk about enough. And I know, I'm a 90s baby. I love love. I grew up listening to Greg David and Celine Dion and Ashanti, putting some Lloyd in there. And when love was love, and that 90s R&B, it hits different every time. That's the music that's predominant on my playlist, and every time I hear it, it's like the first time. First of all, is there a better treat than listening to a nice R&B playlist in the morning just to get your day started, especially on the drive to work? It's everything. So being a lover girl, I know personally that I love, yeah. But now we also don't talk about the work that goes into love, because relationships are not always roses and sunshine. As human beings, wow, my Kamba ancestors are really shining today. As human beings, you know, we have a tendency to be flawed. We're not perfect, and we all have different upbringings. We all have different views and values, and there are times when that might end up clashing or colliding with our significant other. And every now and then you might bump heads, or someone might actually make a mistake. Someone might do something that really hurts the relationship. Someone might actually, I'm thinking worst case scenario is they might actually step out of the union and go and cheat on you. And we don't talk enough about the work that goes into relationships. We don't talk about how it is that sometimes you have to compromise. Sometimes you kind of have to put the other person's needs first and come to a compromise. We don't talk enough about how sometimes you constantly have to forgive. You know, things happen and mistakes are made, and you kind of, especially when you come together and you have had conversations and you try to figure it out, you learn a lot of times, especially over time, that love is forgiveness. Love is when the other person does something and maybe their intention was not to hurt you, or perhaps they were seeking out something that they were not getting at that particular time in the relationship. It's learning to constantly work through life and work through things and work through seasons and to forgive. And it's very easy, especially in this day and age where, you know, we have those WhatsApp group where we be consulting with our girls and our boys, and we're telling them what's going on with our life. And there's nothing wrong with seeking a bit of counsel here and there. But it's also very important to realize that matters of the heart are not things for collective decisions. So Samantha, pull your chair here. I know you have that WhatsApp group where you're always forwarding screenshots and your girlfriends are telling you, no, forgive him next week. Or if I was you, I would walk out of the relationship. I need you to understand that when the lights go down, when all is said and done, it's you and your other and your significant other. It's you and your person. And you two are the only ones who understand what attracted you to each other in the first place. You're the only ones who have a deeper understanding of why you chose to even form a relationship in the first place. So it's very important to not lose sight of things and to realize that you know, when it comes down to making hard choices, you need to kind of figure out what it is that you're getting from the relationship and figure out, you know, what it is that is worth forgiving and what is not. But what remains clear to me, even as I go through life and understand what my flaws are and what it is that my strengths and weaknesses are, is that love is forgiveness. And it's choosing to forgive every day, because I'm telling you, there's a devil for every level. It's always some bullshit every now and then that will creep out into in the union. The other thing is love is honesty. And this plays a huge part in when we make mistakes in a union. Love is honest, and sometimes the truth is rarely beautiful. But I always say, it's in as much as the truth is rarely beautiful, it's better when it's handed than when it's concealed by a lot of lies and a lot of stories. And then now when it comes out, it creates damage that it is irreparable, that you can't take back. So love is honesty, even when it's hard, even when it's not necessarily what the other person wants to hear. It's honest, yeah? Think about it this way. When you kind of bear your heart and do things from a genuine place, you don't have to think about it too much, because it's coming also from a very natural, raw and authentic place, and it's honesty. And honesty is just what it is. It doesn't need to be concealed, it doesn't need to be covered up, it doesn't need to be, to be beautified. It's just what it is. And when people do things from a place of honesty, it usually saves people so much hassle and so much pain. I always like to think about that example for in terms of the men. I know it's 2025, so of course the ladies also be cheating sometimes, but I feel like men usually have a harder time sometimes articulating what it is that they feel, or what exactly it is that's going on with them. You could be in a relationship for a while, perhaps you got into the relationship and you are thinking, oh man, this girl, this is going to be my wife, and then maybe a year down the line, or 6 months down the line, or a couple of years down the line, I don't know, whatever time period it takes, you look back and you're like, what? Excuse me, please, I need to dial back. I don't think this is going to work. And instead of communicating that, or when you feel like you're growing apart or your values no longer align, then you kind of tap out of the relationship, and without knowing, you might probably end up building a connection with someone else. And so now you find yourself in a situation where you've probably found another prospect that could work, but you're also in a space where there's someone else you've been stringing along for a minute. And then now, if both of them find out, you might end up losing both of them, and then people get hurt. And you know how the saying goes, hurt people, and there's just a ripple effect of a lot of ugliness. And all this would have been avoided by just a bit of honesty, right? So I feel like love is honesty, and a bit of honesty or a bit of truth always goes a long way. And like the old age saying always says, honesty is the best policy. So love is honesty. Another thing is love is peace. Love is peace. When you find yourself in a situation, and I feel like this is something that I have had to learn the hard way. Sometimes a bit of reservation here and there, a bit of doubt here and there is good. It's just proof that you're a responsible adult, and you're aware that sometimes choices have consequences, and risks also have, risks can pay off, and they can really mess you up sometimes, and that's okay. So a bit of reservation, a bit of hesitation here and there, that's normal, especially when you've experienced heartache or heartbreak, or sometimes maybe you've experienced a bit of betrayal or hurt. That's normal. But when you feel like everything inside you, your internal voice is telling you, this will not end well, or don't pursue this, or don't lean into this, and you fight whatever it is that's within you, and choose to do it regardless, and then it blows up in your face, and you're like, I should have listened, I should have known. It's very important to know that what's meant for you will find you and will really give you peace. It's especially for the ladies, when you find yourself second guessing and talking yourself out of the doubt that you're feeling, and constantly reaching out for affirmation and telling people so they can kind of confirm your doubts or kind of talk you out of your doubts. Perhaps there's something there. Perhaps you need to lean into what's really going on and see if the situation that you're trying to be in is working out for you. I know there are times when personally my boundaries have been violated. I know there are times when I have, maybe because of feeling like you really like the person, or because of feeling like, man, I don't want to be alone. And I don't think we also talk enough about the loneliness pandemic. I feel like in adulting, and especially in this day and age, when you have a busy life or when you have a lot going on, it's very easy to be lonely. It's very easy to feel like you have all these roles and all these different things that you need to fit into. But when the lights go down and it's just you and you, it feels good to kind of always have someone to do life with, or to have a nice, beautiful escape. And when you get that, and it's not necessarily what it is that you want, but it feels like it's a welcome distraction, or it's, when you manage to find someone who you feel like, now I actually have someone, it's very easy to compromise on your values and non-negotiables for fear of being alone. And it's many times that I have done that. And so I've come to realize that when there's no peace, when there's no when there's no certainty, when there's no stillness, when you're always feeling like you're always on edge, and you're always doubting things, and you're always questioning, and you're always second guessing, perhaps it's best to just let things go. Yeah, perhaps it's best to just kind of dial back and say, okay, I guess this is not what I want, or this is not my person, and that's fine. Now, the hardest times for me to dial back is when the relationship is intertwined with a friendship, and you feel like when you end things at that particular point, you'll not only be losing a romantic partner, but you'll also be losing your friend. And I don't know about you, but friendship breakups really sting, and it stings even more when you're not only losing your person, but you're also losing your friend, and that can be hard. But love is peace, and so when you're in a relationship and all you're getting your sexual urges scratched every now and then, and maybe nursing a bit of less loneliness here and there, maybe that's too big of a price to pay for your peace. So love is peace. If it doesn't give you peace, then maybe you need to let it go. Maybe you need to let it go. And this brings me into my next point, which is love is acceptance. What do I mean by this? Sometimes we kind of need to accept things for what they truly are. Sometimes you are to experience someone for a season and not forever, and that's okay. And because of the ideas sometimes that we have in our heads, and all these wonderful dreams, and all these, just these great ideas and visions that we have for ourselves, and what it is that we feel love is, we tend to hold on to things longer than we need to. And when we don't make that shift for ourselves and the universe makes it, it can be very nasty. So love is acceptance, and acceptance is hard. I feel like most times in life, doing the right thing is hardly easy. I mean, the benefits that come with it are good. It's kind of the peace of mind, the lack of struggle and strife is good, but doing it, starting on business, can be so hard. And so sometimes love is acceptance. I have been in situations where I have really wanted things to work out, but the other person perhaps is not just in that space. Perhaps they were just looking to have, a short kind of thing, or you got into a relationship thinking this is going to be long term, or perhaps this is what I want to achieve, and these are my long term goals, and maybe the season you're in that just doesn't align, or the phase of life that you're in, or whatever it is that you're looking for in a relationship is not similar to what the other person is looking for, and sometimes you just need to accept it and move on. So love is acceptance. Acceptance can also look like letting go of things. Perhaps the season you're in now is just not going to work for the relationship, and it's giving more of a strain, as opposed to when you just let things go and just kind of figure things out. And if what it's meant to be, then you circle back around, and if it's not, then you let it go. So love is acceptance, and whatever it is that you need to accept, I think sometimes deep down we know. And in this case, I'm not talking about accepting abuse. There's nothing cute about abuse. So if it's in a situation where there's abuse, there's pain, there's a certain level of suffering, there's nothing cute about accepting that. That you definitely need to let go of. The other thing is love is growth. And I started this conversation by saying, I don't know about you, but for me, my evolution game is wild. I'm not even the woman I was in December. There's definitely lessons that I've gotten in the past 2 months that have made me still grow, still have a deeper understanding of life, and still evolve as a person. And I'm sure as life goes on, and I continue to experience life, and I continue to learn my lessons, and I continue to make mistakes, and just evolve and continue, I'll be a different person, and the woman I will be probably a couple of years from now is not who I am now, and the woman I was even as I started this lovely platform is not the woman that I am now. I've learned some lessons, I've made some changes, and I'm yet to do that. And so love is growth. And when you're in a long-term relationship, or perhaps you're in a short-term relationship, it's very important to hold out space for each other for growth, right? Life changes, jobs come and go, people come and go. We learn from our mistakes. We our values change. We figure things out as we go. We evolve depending on what it is that we're going through at the time, or what it is that we're experiencing. And it's very important to hold out space for each other for growth and to accommodate them. And growth sometimes is rarely beautiful. Growth is rarely easy. I know of people who have had to relocate and go into different countries. I know of relationships that have had to make adjustments because perhaps one person has a lot more free time on their hands, and the other person is in a season of their lives where they're incredibly busy. And you hold out space for each other, and you love on each other, and you encourage each other, but most importantly, hold out space for each other for growth. Now, I've remembered something when you talk about love being acceptance that I really don't want to pass me by is love is acceptance also means that you hold out space for each other to grant each other being. It's one thing to love your partner, but it's another thing to like your partner. And it's very important as you get to know people, especially in the initial stages of dating, to kind of figure out what it is that you can stomach and what you can't. Because you really need to also hold out space for each other to grant the other person being, to allow the other person to be who they truly are, to embrace the essence of their true self, and to live life as their true self without inhibiting people, without telling people you're too much, you're too loud, you're too quiet, you're too this and you're too that, and feeling like you need to kind of tweak them and morph them into something that works out for you. So it's very important as you do life with each other, whether you're dating, whether you're engaged, whether you're married, to hold out space for each other and grant each other being. Because love is many things, but love is also acceptance. Now, last but not least is love is resilience. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Love is resilient. Love is many things, but love is also resilient. Now, life will come at you, and life will come at you hard. And the good times will probably be easy to navigate, but the hard times and the seasons of transitions are the hardest ones. But love, love is many things, but love is resilient. And I like to go through life thinking that what's meant for you will never miss you. And you go through things, you go through phases, you go through seasons, but the resilience that comes with love is unmatched, and it'll always come out on top, and it'll always win. As long as the intentions are pure and clear, you can literally ride out any wave that comes your way. Now, I know that if you've had your heart broken a number of times, if you've gone into situations of love, having such high hopes and such high expectations, and in a generation where we glorify having relationships being incredibly transactional, and we frown upon vulnerability, it's very easy to think that, to give up and think, man, I'm never going to find love, or it's not for me. But you know what? As I hold out space and hold out hope for myself, I'm going to hold out hope for you as well and tell you, imagine don't lose hope. Imagine don't feel like all is lost. And if you're in a space where you're feeling like, man, I'm a parent, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, or perhaps in this season of my life, I'm too busy, or I'm broke, or I'm just trying to figure things out, don't be too quick to dismiss yourself. It'll find you. And most of the time, the most beautiful love that we experience is the ones that we stumble upon. It's the one that it's the love that just finds you. You are busy doing life. I like to think of it this way. Life is long, yeah, but life is a lot, yes. So imagine do whatever it is that you need to do. Be a mom, be a dad, be a sister, be a friend, be an incredible employee, be that badass business person. Whatever it is that you choose to do with your life, be that and do it really, really well. So that when the right person comes along, they're literally coming to share a glimpse of your awesomeness, coming to just share a glimpse of this awesome life that you've created for yourself. And they're literally coming in to complement you and not to complete you. And it's very easy, especially when you're a hopeless romantic like me, to fall into the trap of making your your relationship your end all and your everything. And that's very dangerous, because when things crumble or when things don't work out, it really leaves you broken, right? So please build a life for yourself outside of your romantic relationship, so that if it works out for the long haul, then that's lovely. I'm celebrating that with you. But if it's there for a short time, it doesn't take a piece of you away. And if you're in a season where you're dealing with a breakup, I'm going to encourage you to feel your emotions, feel hurt, feel embarrassed, just go through the emotions, because I know many things are true, but this one thing I know, this one truth I know stands undefeated, is that time heals all wounds. I promise you, as the weeks go by, as the days go by, as the months go by, as long as you allow yourself to go through the process, it does get better. Sending you so much love and light. I hope you had a great Valentine's, whether it was Valentine's with your bae, whether it was Galentine's with your girl or with your boys, whether you are your own Valentine's and gave yourself all the love that you're also willingly and also wholesomely and hopefully hoping to get from someone else. I hope you be that for yourself first. Sending you so much love and light. Love you, mean it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.